hidden teachings of Jesus that are quite obviously being suppressed and misinterpreted and misunderstood in so many ways. Welcome back to the Gems of the Sacred Wisdom. I thought I'd bring you guys a quick one, getting back into some of the sacred texts here. And we're going to dive into some of the Gospel of Thomas, as well as just some passages where Jesus is referring to the eye and letting thine eye be single, and what this means in terms of union of opposites. We're going to really reveal some of the esoteric and hermetic teachings of Jesus. And Jesus at the root was a hermeticist, and this will be obviously revealed through some of the passages I share with you. First off, what sparked my interest to make this video was reading Matthew 6:22. Now, I've read this passage multiple times before and have meditated upon it, but when I looked at it on Bible Hub, I was astonished by all these misinterpretations and translations that are, I guess, misleading everyone from the truth. So if we look at the New International Version here, the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. It's like, no, it's not what it says, actually. If your eye is like a lamp. When your eye is healthy, your whole body will be filled. It's not healthy, though. That's not what the original version says, and then all these scholars try to interpret it into a more modern speak, but they're losing the esoteric truth of it, what Jesus was really communicating. So even the New King James Version, check out this compared to the King James Bible. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light, versus the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body be full of light. Now this is very important. If thine eye be single, then your whole body will be full of light. Okay, so basically, my friends, I wanted to get into a few things in this video. And letting thy eye be single, we're going to talk a little bit about spiritual vision. We're going to get into the union of opposites and balancing of the poles, okay? And Jesus, we could argue so much about the history and all this whatnot, but I don't think it can be argued that he was a symbol of one who balanced equal and opposite forces. He balanced and contained them, right? And allowed thy vision to both merge the above and the below, the heaven and the earth, into a single vision, spiritual vision, essentially. And if the light of the body is the eye, if therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Now, let's go and check out, Luke 11:34 through 36. Similar statements being said here. So the lamp of the body. The lamp of the body is the eye. Therefore, when thy eye is single, not good. Let me get the King James Version. Okay, now we're on it. Therefore, when thine eye is single, thy whole body is full of light. But when thine eye is evil, thy body is full of darkness. Take heed that the light which is in thee be not darkness. So what it's saying here, essentially, my friends, and he has further references to this in some of his hidden teachings, is that we see through the whole body. The whole body is the eye, or it contains the light of the eye, right? And we see with the entire body. We see through all of our organs, right? So when we're breathing and we're doing the energy work and whatnot, we're essentially purifying our vision, because if organs are blocked, like if your liver has blockages and damage or misalignments, right? And your spine isn't perfectly aligned, which is carrying the electrical signals to the rest of the body. If that's not all functioning in harmony, then the light of the body is not full. Therefore, we're not seeing with our whole body. Therefore, we're separation and degrees away from truth, right? You can meditate upon this, but really, like, if you know, when you're working with some solar breathwork, solar meditations, you start to realize that that need to like squint and whatnot is simply because the darkness in your body is reacting against the light trying to come into it, because there's separation there, right? So it's essentially becoming one with the light and seeing with the whole body through purity, just like Solomon, you know, playing the 10 spheres in perfect harmony, the 10 spheres being the 10 sephirot linked to the 10 organs, you know, and essentially bring that all into alignment so that we can see. When thine eye is evil, evil being dual, evil being of the ma, or of the material, right? And now we're going to get into some very interesting stuff. So let's transition over to the OneNote. Bada bing, bada boom. Cool. So Matthew 6:22 back here. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, the whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, the whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? So this is from the Gospel of Thomas now, one of the last teachings of Jesus. And this is getting into some of his Hermetic stuff. Now that statement, let thine eye be single, is Hermetic at the deepest like core of it. When you make the two into one, and when you make the outside like the inside, and the inside like the outside, and the above like the below, and when you make the male and the female one and the same, so that the male not be male nor the female female, and when you fashion eyes in the place of an eye, and a hand in the place of a hand, and a foot in the place of a foot, and a likeness in the place of a likeness, then you will enter the kingdom. So I did a full teaching on this, like Jesus and Hermetics, way back when. But essentially, my friends, in Hermeticism, as within, so without, as without, so within, as above, so below, as below, so above. The whole goal of Hermeticism is essentially learning how to intelligently direct your will, right? To establish order from above here on earth and direct the energies, right? And realizing that all things are reflected, right? The spiritual realm, or the heavenly realm, is reflected here on earth, and the earthly realm is a reflection and reflecting the heavenly realm back up, right? So as below, so above, and as above, so below. This is important, my friends, because essentially you are dual. You have two poles, the tree of life, essentially, right? On the right side, you have the pillar of severity. On the left side, you have the pillar of mercy. One's an ascending column. It's almost like spirituality in a sense. The other column is coming down into material, right? And it's like a negative pillar and a positive pillar. Now, in Rosicrucianism, they associate these two pillars with spiritual influences, spiritual beings that influence us towards either more material mentality and more material wants, needs, and feelings, or towards more spiritual and transcendental feelings, thoughts, and needs, and, you know. And essentially, Jesus, when he let thine eye be single, he essentially balanced the poles. When he was no longer polarized between male and female, he created harmony of the yin and yang within him, right? And he made the outside like the inside, and the inside like the outside. And essentially, he combined the two into one. And what this means, really, is in Rosicrucianism, they always depicted Jesus as when he was on the cross, and a lot of different, like, you know, mystery school sects also had this image, but it's him holding the devil in his right hand, and an angel in the left, like strangling them both, just holding them out, like fully from him. And he was standing erect in the center with his like head lifted and a halo behind his head. Now, this is a symbol for overcoming those two polar voices inside your head. The one that is like pulling you towards, the transcendental, oh, just like leave the earth behind, nothing matters here, just like go bliss out. Like all this new age stuff is just basically polarized, spiritual influence. But also holding the beast of materiality, the one that, is like of the body, is of the earth, is these forces that are coming into more consolidation, more form, right? And Jesus is the representation of finding the middle way and the Christic willpower. The willpower coming from the sun, which is born from the above and the below. So this is getting a bit esoteric, but essentially what I'm saying, my friends, is that Jesus is a symbol for conquering both his, the heavenly nature and the earthly nature, and bringing these opposite forces, these opposing forces, into perfect balance. Essentially to combine two elements that are opposites, right? And bring them into a new single whole, to literally make the two into one, the left side and the right side into one. This is essentially balancing the Pingala and the Ida, if you study the Eastern traditions a little bit, and then rising up the Sushumna, which is the ascent of consciousness from beast nature to, illumination. And illumination is when you have perfectly balanced the left side and the right side, right? You have perfectly balanced the negative force and the positive force, and you stand in between, unmoved by the calls and the pulls of the spiritual forces on either side that are influencing you, right? You have found and understood and attained to the middle way, as Buddha would say. And this allows you to rise up the center column, right? To the ascent in consciousness and illuminate, the pineal light. And that illumination is union with God. This is theurgy, my friends. Union with God. It's not just meditating on your third eye or something, and seeing some colors. No, it is literally the ascent and the perfection of man on earth. A perfect combination of his spiritual nature and earthly nature into one, right? Basically, when you carve your ego to become a perfect vehicle and vessel for the Most High inside of you. So therefore, the above can flow down into the earth. Kingdom come, thine will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Letting God move inside of you because you have balanced the polarity which was creating friction. So the above could not come to the below, and the below could not go to the above. Now, if we think about, Hermes and the Emerald Tablet. Let's see if I got it right here. Yep. Separate the earth from the heaven, the subtle from the gross. Okay, so the gross being matter, right? The subtle being ether. Gently and with great ingenuity, right? And a great ingenuity meaning greatly clever, intelligent, Gnosis in how you balance the forces, how you stand in between the law and allow the union of opposites. When doing that, it rises from the earth to the heaven. It is talking about the Divine Mother pouring up through you and the ascent in consciousness from a lower nature to a higher nature, right? It rises from earth to heaven and descends again to earth. So we're rising up, right? And then we're coming back down with essentially the above, the heavenly realm coming back down into us and standing in between, thereby combining within it the power of both the above and the below. Combining the power of both the above and below. Thus you will attain the glory of the whole universe. All obscurity will be clear to you because thine eye is single. You have spiritual vision. You are not seeing in polarity, but in fact you have realized the greater I am, the essence behind both poles, right? If we think about creation, there was one, singularity. And from that singularity came the yin and the yang, the polarities. And essentially the yin and the yang, the full symbol itself, is actually at the base of it, is the essence. The essence of you, my friends, is the one on the fourth plane, behind the thoughts, behind the feelings, behind the emotions and the body. The one that is presence, that is observing, that is watching, right? And it is still, right? To realize that I am is literally why every mystery school had initiations. You were initiated through this process that would hopefully reveal and lead to a realization of a greater understanding of what I am is, the true I am, right? And illumination is the full realization of I am, because your true self is essentially God, right? You are not God, but yeah, that gets a little too far out there. This is the greatest force of all powers because it overcomes every subtle thing and penetrates every solid thing, because it is the essence behind it all. In this way, the universe was created, and from this will come many wondrous applications, because this is the pattern, right? And I, Hermes thrice greatest, having all three parts of wisdom, herein I have completely explained the operation of the sun. So he's explaining the operation of the sun. How do we balance the left and the right to allow the below to ascend to the above, and the above to descend back down into the below? Therefore the divine mother, which is below, and the divine father, which is above, right, going into the bridal chamber in your brain, the left and the right hemisphere of your brain, right, and conceiving, or actually birthing, the Christ being into your heart, which is the Christic willpower, which is where Christ sits, which is what the Son of God and the Son of Man is. You are essentially your own mother. You must give birth to yourself inside of you by reopening up to the divine mother and father, right? Having that divine conception where, the ascent of the chrism, the Christ oil, begins up to the bridal chamber, where the mother and the father meet, right, and conceive the divine child. The divine child comes in, and just like Jesus said, verily I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Except man be born of water and spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. Water and spirit. Water is referencing the ether, chi. Water is associated with the element of chi because if you look at the separations in the waters, and just like a lens behind, you're gonna notice that we're in an ocean of energy. We are in an ocean of chi, and it's just like water. It is literally just separations in the firmament. So water is actually corresponding to the higher element of water, which would be the ether, which would be chi or prana or kundalini, right? Water and spirit. Spirit is from the above. Spirit is light itself. It is the quintessence. And to be born of both water and spirit, that's water and fire, my friends. Spirit being the true I am, the true self, right? The one being behind it all. That still essence at the core, behind everything. To be born of the water and the spirit, then you are reborn, right? So the water will enter through your solar plexus, right? And rise up, and the spirit will descend, and we will open up to that light to create, the space for the union of the below and the above, and therefore the union of the matter with the heavens, okay? That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of spirit is spirit. Marvel not, I said unto thee, ye must be born again. And Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness. The serpent is the symbol of fire and transmutation, and it is furthermore the serpent of wisdom, right? And to lift up the serpent means to ascend through the Shishuma, or the ascending pillar in the middle of the tree of life, right? To lift up the serpent, to allow Shakti and Shiva to dance their way up the spine and Kundalini rise. And when Kundalini rises again, when the serpent masters return, the god shall walk the earth. You know, that's what the Hindu texts say. Even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. So the Son of Man is he that which is born of the mother, which is the earth, right? And the Son of God is he that is born from the above. Guess what? They're one and the same, because they're both being birthed into the center, the sun, which is the heart center, the symbol of the sun, right? And the son is born between a mother and a father. Whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. He so loved the world that he gave his Son into it. Okay. So I just want to get back to a little bit of spiritual vision. So maybe the art of seeing and spiritual vision will come in a later video. Let me know and drop a comment if you want to see that one. I think I'm just going to end on some Hermetic notes. So this is Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas, which is definitely a Hermetic document. Jesus was an initiate into 3 different mystery schools and was essentially on this 17-year path, the last years of Jesus. He was being initiated and striving and aspiring towards perfection or union with God. And those that were initiated into those mystery schools, right, would receive these. And Jesus was the highest of the initiates. And essentially, he achieved perfection. He perfected the vehicle. He stood between the 2 poles and created union between them, right? Spirit and the flesh. When you make the 2 into 1, you will become children of Adam. And when you say, mountain, move from here, it will move. Why? Because you have made the 2 into 1. You have combined Shiva and Shakti. Shiva being stillness, Shakti being energy and motion, right? Combining the 2 into 1, like Hermeticism goes so deep. This can apply to, you know, just action in the world. We're out here in the world. You ever notice, like, when you start doing stuff, then all of a sudden, like, you'll get distracted, you get busy, and then you'll end up down a long line of bullshit? It's because you lost the stillness where you had the idea to go act, and then the actions actually led you away because you lost the other pole. Okay? To combine stillness and intense motion at the same time, to be perfectly poised and in like repose while in intense activity, is combining the 2 into 1. You know, to be perfectly balanced in your divine feminine and masculine within you. To make the 2 into 1 is to unify the above and the below. So this is all Hermeticism, my friends. Jesus taught Hermetics, and yeah, that's about. If you like this video, my friends, hit that like button. Definitely share this video. I know I don't do many of these, but I was feeling called to make a video on this and just get the conversation going, get some interest piqued on the secret teachings of Jesus, the true understanding of it, not any of this new age bullshit, and really going deep, going way deep beneath the covers, my friends. And let me know what you thought of this video, where you want to go deeper. Go check out the rest of the Gems of the Sacred Wisdom. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one or talk to me, you can apply in the description for a free one-on-one with me. And furthermore, I really would appreciate any donations or contributions on my Patreon, where I have a lot more content like this. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Jesus and Hermetics.